There's been a lot of talk about Meta Andromeda just broke ads. This is why you're not performing. Andromeda. Andromeda's changed ads forever. And while that's kind of true, it's really not. And honestly, I think it's just cloud chasing. It's just view chasing, to be honest with you, because they actually released this thing like a year ago and they've been making updates on it since then. So it's not really all that new. It's a big wave. But I'm actually gonna take the counter argument in that I think it's gonna make you filthy rich. And I want to explain why. And unfortunately, some people are getting it right. The impacts are to you right, and some of them have gone deep. But I actually want to give you a good argument. I think it's going to make ads perform even better. I think it's going to make you richer than ever before. And I actually think that if you make a few of the right adjustments, your performance is going to go through the roof. Because while it has changed things, what it's doing and the things it has enabled are things Meta has never done. And it's actually in ways that Meta has never had the ability to do. So buckle up, Andromeda is gonna make you very rich. But I need you to understand something, is that the updates, Andromeda was actually just one of 4 updates. And that's where a lot of people are getting this wrong. They're like, Andromeda, Andromeda, Andromeda. But dude, there was like 4 separate updates that Meta has done to address why they've even rolled these things out. So you need to understand something. Meta for the last couple of years has been running things a certain way. And we didn't know this until they actually released the updates of what they're changing. We didn't realize just how segmented a lot of their machine learning was. To be honest with you, I actually thought that their machine learning was like all into one like giant pool of data. It really wasn't. And this is one of the reasons why I actually think these updates are gonna make you filthy rich. Before, they had things hyper segmented. They had machine learning on organic. Then they had machine learning on ad relevance, the machine learning on serving ads, then machine learning on the data from your ads. And how they phrase it is they phrase it as, it was almost as if they were separate libraries for all these different micro things, that they weren't actually sharing data across all those different micro sections very efficiently. And what this update is addressing across all these 4 different sections is how Meta is now going to be sharing that data for the machine learning to learn on all of it. So instead of having micro library on how to optimize posting organically, and how to optimize serving your ad, and how to optimize like the data, and then also how to understand the purchase intent from them clicking on your website, it's all in one giant library now, according to their terminology. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through what this update actually is, what it does, and then we're gonna talk about how you can become filthy rich from this. All right, so the first one, let's talk about MetaGem. So MetaGem, first of all, is you have to understand what it does, okay? So what it did is it's taking essentially generative ads recommendation into a super brain. So what it can do is it can read everything in seconds. So remember how I said previously, Meta was like super segmented. They had little libraries and little machine learning models for like all these different sections of their ecosystem. And just to pause here for a second, why was that actually, now that we know this, why was that actually bad? Because it was almost like the right hand didn't always know what the left hand was doing. That's why sometimes you would hear these reports of people being served ads that had like literally no relevance. That didn't happen all the time, but that would happen. Or specifically, in my opinion, also why people previously were getting ads when they were already a subscriber, already a purchaser, or why sometimes you would launch ads and it would go after your current customers. I believe it's because everything was hyper segmented and we didn't know that until now. So first of all, MetaGem, what is it doing? It's actually putting everything into Superbrain. So that Superbrain now understands all of it. And Meta uses the term library. So it uses the entire library and it can review the entire library of data information in seconds. And it can understand the nuances between that data, people in the journeys. Because it has access to all of that data, like in the Superbrain, now it can be more predictive than it ever has been. Because it has access to people's viewing habits on Meta, Instagram, WhatsApp, understands what they're talking about, it can actually help predict a week out, as a paraphrase, before they even realize they need a product. What I want to do now is I want to read actually from the article that Meta released about it, but I'm doing it with the keyword search term of personalized. And this is going to be a really big hint to why I think we're going to make more money than ever before. And let's read their words. So GEM is a new powerful machine learning model trained on thousands of GPUs. That's important. Optimized results for ad products, delivering on improvement of ad performance, enables the ad system to rapidly process large amounts of data to highly relevant and personalized ads and has enabled a paradigm shift for recommender systems. Let's pause here for a second. So what are they essentially saying? What Meta was doing before, Meta has nearly 1 million advertisers at this point. There's tens of millions of ads that they have to process in an instant, and also billions of users they have to recommend ads to those people. Like, it's not an easy thing to do. But what Gem has done is it's taken all of that into a super brain. That super brain now can read everything instantly, better give more relevant ads, more personalized ads, but also it's a huge lift in their recommendation system. What they recommend people actually want or they need or forecasted to need. Dude, that's freaking huge. We thought meta ads were good before. This is gonna turn meta ads into a freaking gold rush. So a really great example of this is this. Imagine having a super brain that can read the entire library of books in seconds, understand the relationships between all the characters, remember every single detail, and connect the details in understanding the sequence of events a person goes through across all activities. And this is a really great example where before it couldn't do that, but now what it allows them to do is know, hey, this person has watched a couple of inspiration videos on getting fit, just inspiration videos. And now it's gonna know that this person is on a journey of getting fit, but they don't need like a personal trainer yet. What they need now is more recommendation videos on getting fit. Then it's gonna push them along that path, and it's gonna know that, hey, they don't need peptides yet. What they just need is just a gym, and they need protein. It's gonna better understand what they need along that path because it has all the information now into one super brain. All right, number one. Number two, now Meta Lattice. What is Meta Lattice? So Gem previously is the brain. Meta Lattice is the architecture that allows in the storing of data to flow into the super brain. For example, imagine, like I said previously, let's get a bit deeper, is before everything in Meta had machine learning models very segmented. Imagine having 1,000 different libraries, right? 1,000 different libraries that specialize in specific things. There's specific books, articles of work, and videos on specific things, okay? Now imagine you go and you build this massive, the biggest library the world has ever seen to store all this information. The Lattice essentially is the architecture of taking all that information and storing it inside the super brain. Because once it's stored and how data flows, then the super brain can use that information and better store it and better use it to have a better, more powerful ads platform. Now let's go back to the documentation. Essentially, it's combined all the libraries into one, where previously it had different books, but now it doesn't just have more books. The expert librarians can also learn from all the books it has and apply that knowledge to different subjects. This is much more efficient because we only maintain one library and can help people find information faster no matter what they're looking for. In other words, this means we can use one powerful system to improve how ads are shown to people, making them relevant, effective, rather than relying on many smaller systems to focus on one type of product or placement. So essentially what it does, using this example right here, it takes all that information of all a user, gives it the architecture it needs for those librarians to then learn. Because again, previously, before it was like one major system that just knew one thing really, really well. Now there's master librarians that know all the information, so when it serves ads, it understands the full picture. And this is what blows my mind the most. I actually always thought that Meta was so good, it understood all that. And I think it did understand it, but it was also the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing and what it knew. The right hand didn't know what the left hand knew. But this changes that. This finally changes that. All right, number three. Now this is the one that everyone is talking about, Andromeda. So remember, we talked about the brain, we talked about the architecture, now it's actually Andromeda. So what is Andromeda actually doing? And again, this is just one of the 4 major updates Meta has done. So first thing is that Andromeda is so much more than what you've probably heard, which is you need creative diversity. Yes, that's true. So what does Andromeda actually do? Well, Andromeda, according to Meta, it's a 10,000x improvement in their ad delivery system. Yes, it's about creative diversity, which I'll touch on in this video, but the output of better delivering ads to a personalized, relevant person has gone up 10,000 fold, okay? So in short, it's gonna know that you are shopping for rollerblades right now because you actually have a trip to Los Angeles next week and that you also need shades and flip-flops for that trip as well. That is how well it's going to know and be able to predict what a person needs. For example, read this. The increase in model complexity enables running for more sophisticated prediction models to better personalize ads. And as a business uploads more creative to support that diversification strategy, Meta works behind the scenes to power more complex models to allow Meta to pick the right creative and deliver it to the right person. So said differently, imagine having a personalized person who knows your taste so well that they don't just understand that you covet shoes, but that you like to wear red flip-flops at the beach. The same example I gave. Meta learns your preferences so Meta can show you ads that are more relevant in advertising. And I love how they have this example. It's like, this is like finally just fully boils all this down, is that you upload with a bunch of diverse creative, which we'll talk about in a second. And then it understands that creative, understands the people, their needs, where they're at, and it starts to compartmentalize them into what is the exact right creative they need at the right time to show it to them. And this is what's quite shocking, is before the understanding was that, oh, like you upload a bunch of creative and then Meta is going to rotate that creative. For example, if you're targeting like a 1% lookalike, spending 100 grand in a month, for example, over time, that entire 1% lookalike may see difference of creatives, not based off of personalization, but based off of just what signals in that creative Meta thinks is going to perform the best. But what this does now is understands in exact detail exactly what creative does one right person need to be served to get them to buy. Previously, it did just based off of like some kind of rotation based off the probability someone would buy from a specific app. That's a big freaking deal. It's also a big deal why you need creative diversity. Now we're gonna pause here to talk about creative diversity, then we'll go to the last part of the update. A big part of this update with Andromeda is the creative diversity, which you've heard a lot of people talking about. And now more than ever, it's going to be very critical that things are diverse. That's very true. And to be really frank, that's been true for quite a long time. Before, you just didn't feel the need to do it because you didn't have this appending update lingering over your head, scaring you that if you don't have it now, things are going to fall up. Because imagine, guys, this has been around for like a year actually. Like all these updates, they've been working on these for over a year. They've even rolled some of these out for a long time as well. You're just now hearing a lot of people talk about it. So really, rewind 6 months ago before all this became popular, and you pretty much be business as usual. But now, because you have this update, you need to create diversify. And so, for example, it means now more than ever, things have to look very different. And I'll show you some examples from other people on X talking about this. But it's not just about taking one image, coming up with a different variation with a different headline. Meta actually considers that the exact same ad now, which I'll talk about. Now you need things to look radically different. And what's really scary is you're gonna have to kind of throw some of your brand guidelines out the window if you want things to look diverse enough, unless you okay with Meta just kind of grouping everything together, thinking it's exactly the same. So you're gonna have to compartmentalize, okay, my ads, I think I have to be okay with letting things not be 100% by the brand book. And maybe I can be more about the brand book on the website side, on the email side, or on the organic side. That's okay. But things have to be very diverse because according to Meta, these look like the exact same ads. Okay, even though they have different headlines, the same thing with this. These are the exact same ads according to Meta as well. Even though they have different ad IDs, Meta doesn't give a crap. They look at the creative. But now these look different because they are different. So it's not just the text, it's the scene. We've even hearing reports where you take the exact same type of product. So imagine this cup, okay? And you have two different models, two different Caucasian models talking about this cup at their home. Meta will look at that as the exact same creative. So you have to like really push yourself to go extremely different in all aspects, in the script, in the concept, in the persona, in the scene, in the setting, and the copy. So it has to be very diverse. This is a really great post I saw by Kevin on X. And it has a really good point that talks about the actual how Meta categorizes creative. It says, in theory, you could launch 1,000 ads and they would all have a unique ad ID, but could still have just one entity ID. Essentially, Meta categorizes things based off entity ID. You think you have a lot of creative assets, but Meta does not. You know how to have one concept that cannibalizes the others, you test, because Meta stores the ads history at the entity ID level. So it says that one ad identity knows it's a good one and favors it. Bottom line, creative strategy should focus on creating more entity IDs and not more ads. Ad iterations should only happen on winning ads as they'll share the same entity ID. Doesn't mean they still can't increase performance. I think iteration still has its place. If you don't have part of your strategy really pushing yourself to do drastically different things, it's gonna be the same. So according to him, according to what he's been reported on, these ads, according to Meta, are all the same. So I think it helps to put things in perspective now that how much you really have to push yourself. So when you think about the 80-20 rule, what is the 20% of actions that'll give me 80% of the lift? it's gonna be net new, radically different concepts. It's gonna give you 80% of that lift. This doesn't mean you still can't get 20% lift from iterating and doing very similar type of things. You still can. But you have to now force yourself. I have to do drastically different things if I want Meta to understand and believe it's different. And that's why it's going to be different personas. You have to start thinking in different personas, okay? There's going to have to be different models, different scenes, different concepts, different scripts. Like it all comes together in this creative diversity mix. And I actually don't think it's that scary. I think if anything, it's gonna force you to be a better marketer, but that's why I'm making this video. It's actually gonna make you way more rich than you've ever been, which we'll talk about that at the end. All right, last one's gonna be talking about the sequence learning. How do we then cap off the architecture, the brain, the serving recommendation method? It's in the learning of it. And that's why after all these updates Meta's done, now it's gonna become very clear why you can be so rich with these updates. Is that now you're able to take those and how it learns is amazing. So check this out. This is the sequence learning according to Meta. It's an AI modeling technique that enables ad systems to consider the actions a person takes before and after an ad. That's really important. We'll come back to that. It allows deeper understanding of the purchase journeys people take, allowing us to deliver more personalized and relevant ads. Okay. Said differently, if a user converted on one ski resort ad, they may continue to see ski resort ads. With recent changes in our ads learning, after purchasing a ski resort room, a person would see new ads for ski equipment, lift tickets, ski luggage, providing more relevant ads on the purchase journey. So said differently in common language, now it's going to better understand what needs to be served to a person for the LTV of that customer. That is groundbreaking. Because now it understands all these things from literally start to the very end and continue on as a customer of businesses. Now they're going to know what is the information they need to be served to get them to keep buying. And I like this example where it takes all the ad ranking, all the different event representations, organic and a like and a follow and a comment, and what is the sequence of events that must happen to get that person from having no idea who you are to buying again, into buying again, into buying again, into buying again, into buying again. Meta has never had this before. Everything was compartmentalized. Now it understands the full journey, and that's why you're gonna have to start serving marketing and ads to really complement and to add on to that LTV. Now you should start thinking about what is the content and or the ads I should make for a person who's bought 2 times and that now needs to buy a 3rd time or a 4th time or a 5th time. All right, so let's bring this back around. How is this gonna make you more rich? I actually think there's 4 ways. And we're gonna talk about each one. Number 1 is I actually think we're gonna have less wasted spend. Now, you can have wasted spend due to human error. There's kind of no going around that. But let's talk about wasted spend in a few areas. Number 1, if you've ever run, let's say, Advantage Plus campaigns or ASC campaigns, a common issue right now is a lot of people will often check a suggested demographic, and Meta ads will serve to men for like PMS products. Like, doesn't make any sense. Why are they serving to men? Doesn't make any sense, okay? That is gonna go away. The reason why is because Meta understands nuances of purchase journey, like I said, the sequence learning, like they never have before. So it's gonna know this dude has never looked at PMS stuff, this dude has never bought PMS products, this dude has never gone on any kind of purchase journey for PMS products. There's no way we should serve this ad to this dude, unless the dude's secretly a chick. Okay, that's a different situation. But it understands that information. So I expect it's gonna be less wasted spend due to more non-human error. Another way I think there'll be less wasted spend is actually gonna be serving to the right audience. For example, how often and how frustrating is it where you know, hey man, like this product is made for women who are 45 and older, especially like menopause. So why am I still getting spend serving to like 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds? If you look at your demos, you probably see that. I think that's gonna slowly start going away because it's gonna understand this female has never in her history had menopause issues or even at the age based off everything we know about her and that we can use our super brain to understand. I think that's gonna start going away as well. So benefit, more spend being more efficiently spent. Also, I think what's important to understand, just as a caveat, You may see CPMs rise in some of these categories because Meta is going to be so good at delivering them, and there's going to be less wasted spend. You may see CPMs go up, but also performance should go up as well. Number 2, more targeted ads. Remember, we talked about the superbrain, understanding every possible event sequence now, and that superbrain's ability to not only understand, but to predict what a person is needing or will need. For example, I have 2 little girls. Me and my wife are looking and shopping for schools already. Meta's superbrain, because it's already been out, has already been serving us for information about private schools and information on things kids need to get ready for their first year of school. Why? Because it understands the full buying journey now that we're not in kids planning phase. It's not serving me like tuition yet. It's serving me information to help along that journey. Number 3, higher LTV. Because remember, it understands the full purchase journey. That was actually in the sequence learning, where it understands now where a person's at, all the possible events and touches people have across Meta. It understands the sequence people must go through to go from novice to customer to repeat customer to high value customer. It understands that now with the superbrain. So what that means is I actually believe we're going to start seeing higher LTV than you've ever experienced before, especially if you make the right content that enables those sales on the high LTV and run ads on the high LTV side. It understands all those nuances now. And then number 4 is new total addressable market. Because I know I keep harping on the technical side, but this is really important because remember, everything was hyper segmented, meaning that Meta didn't fully understand where people were in the buying journey until it had hypotheses. It used statistical targeting of like these types of cohorts of certain types of people, and it was good. Like it was freaking good. But now it fully understands every touch point and will be able to predict who is ready to come in market. It may know that they're going to come in market in a year, in 6 months, in 3 months, which means it's going to unlock a huge TAM, specifically because of the function of Andromeda. In order to diversify, it's going to force the marketers to go after different personas. And if you've ever run different personas before, you can have a really big TAM, but you're only really cutting one sliver of the market. But the moment you dive off into a different persona, it can unlock a whole new TAM. And then Meta, understanding your creative with the superbrain, understanding who fits that, is then going to serve to that whole new TAM. For example, this is one of my favorite stories to help people understand this concept. So there's a brand we're running ads for, and they were working with Caucasian white women. That was like what we were serving in the creative, Caucasian white women, okay? And so Meta is only serving to Caucasian white women. It's like the persona that we created. But the moment we shifted to go after a different ethnicity, unlocked a whole new TAM, a whole new TAM. It actually became 20% of their revenue very, very quickly, unlocking that TAM. Again, a very simple explanation to talk about that. There's a whole TAM that you probably have never even reached or targeted because one, of how your creative was positioned, so you have to diversify. But then number 2, Meta didn't understand that your product fit those other personas and TAMs. So you should be incredibly bullish that this, I believe, is gonna be the heyday of making money from Meta ads. The people I've talked to already, they're like, oh man, it just seems like so much work for the outcome. It's gonna be work because it's going to work. And I need you to understand this, like Meta has taken their app ecosystem that was already the best in the world, and they have now put it on mega steroids. Guys, this is gonna be, in my opinion, the best heyday for running and profitable ads we've ever seen. It's easy if you've been running this for a long time to look at today and like, oh man, like this isn't working. When years ago it was just cheaper CPMs, there was less advertisers on the platform. Yes, of course that was like the golden era, but doesn't mean it's less effective. In fact, it's getting more effective now as of recording this than it was previously. There was just less people on it, okay? So don't conflate the amount of people who are advertising with the effectiveness of the platform. Guys, this is gonna be the greatest heyday of making money from Meta ads you have ever seen if you take to heart the things I talked about and start making those changes. Because the Meta brain is better than it's ever been. The serving brain is gonna serve than it's ever served before, okay? Understanding the buyer journey and the predictability of ads is now better than it's ever been. So you should make more money than you ever made if you change the way you need to change and diversify. And if you need help with diversification, you can work with my agency, or you can join our mentorship group where we actually teach our brands every single week how to diversify, what kind of ads to make, especially AI ads if that's interesting to you as well. Click the link in the description. I'll see you in the next video.